This is probably the cleanest, I'd call it, Gen 2 Ram 3/4 ton I've ever seen. And of course it's my own. I have restored it. I've kept the paint really nice. Most of the paint is original except for the hood and one fender. It's got a Skyjacker lift kit, 4.5 inch, 4 to 4.5 they called it. It's their rock ready kit. Comes with these Heim joints, fully adjustable. You turn these giant nuts and these are threaded all the way in, so you can adjust your alignment this way with these two. The kit was a bolt-on, but I welded everything anyway. The Fox shocks were not part of the kit. They give you crappy shocks, of course. These are Fox 2.5s. They were custom tuned to the truck and to the weight. I ditched the factory sway bar. It was way too stiff. Got so much body roll, or not body roll, but you get tossed side to side off-road. So this is way more compliant, I guess would be the word. So you're not getting thrown side to side on off-road. Dana 60 up front with an ARB locker. 488 gears to compensate for the 37-inch Toyo Open Country MTs. They're on 17-inch fuel wheels. Upgraded the brakes. They are from EBC, and that's their yellow stuff brake pads. You can tell by the, of course, the yellow brake pad. You can't see it down there. But they do quite a nice job. They handle the extra heat from these huge tires in the heavy truck. This is a 1998. Well, last time I checked it, I had 280-something thousand miles on it. I did rebuild the engine probably 6 months ago. Started getting a rod knock. Nothing too bad, but figured it was time. Installed some rigid lights in this winch bumper. It is 1/4 inch thick steel. It's made by a company called Fusion. They custom make them per your request. This one's got a Warn 12,000 winch inside of it. I chose just a pre-runner bar instead of the giant cow catcher. I hate those. Custom mounts for the remote reservoirs on the Fox shocks. Welded some stainless steel brackets right here. And then it clamps to the bracket right here. This bracket runs the whole way up and down, and then it's welded to the shock tower here. I could not install these. Me and a friend were pushing down on the top of these. We had to let all the nitrogen out just to install them. They're so strong. They have so much pushback. You just could not get the top of the tower down, no matter what you did. Didn't matter, ratchet straps, whatever. Anyway, I have nitrogen at work, recharged them with 200 psi of nitrogen. Made it so much simpler after we let out the nitrogen. Had to make hanger brackets to extend all the brake lines and vacuum lines to the differential. All stainless steel braided brake lines. So this is the rare V10. They didn't make very many of them. And even more rare is the quad cab. They mostly made standard cab, long bed, and this is only a 6.5. It's not the long bed. I didn't want the long bed. This is a custom order. This originally was a sport. It was all white all the way down. But I put this bed liner on here myself. It's been on here for probably 10 years and still looks like this. I wanted something not too texturous because it's too hard to clean. This is just stone protection and tree branch protection. You can see some creases in the side from rubbing logs and whatnot. Added the rub rails here to rub up against trees and keep door dings to a minimum. I've used them quite a bit. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bunch of tree branch scratches here. But I keep it polished. I try to get rid of the scratches after I off-road. I believe this is a glass-tight camper shell. I'm about to get rid of it. We're gonna go to Four Wheel Camper, and I'm gonna buy their Hawk pop-up camper. It probably sticks another 1.5 feet higher than this, and then goes over the top of the cab to about right there, and it pops up and you have a queen-size bed up there. I've been living back here off-road, and you can't even sit up on your knees. You'll bang your head. You just kind of do your thing while you're kind of laying down or on your side. It kind of sucks, but I've been doing it for years. Just got used to it. 4x4 hybrid. People always ask me, is that really a hybrid? Yeah, it's not. Stole that off of a junkyard. I think it was a Prius or something, or a Toyota. Yeah. I don't mind showing the license plate. I don't care. Some people hide it. No big deal. Let me hop up on in here. It's all clean now, but normally it's loaded with camping gear and all kinds of crap, and firewood and whatnot. Bear with me for a moment. There's the rocket ship right there. It's quite the hop to get up in here. You got a factory bed mat in here. So I have 200 watts of solar up on the roof. So there's a solar charge controller, and it also handles, I believe, 50 or 60 amps from the alternator. This is a 2-gauge cable coming from the battery up front in the engine compartment. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been detailing the truck today. Wax on, wax off. So it's a extreme air compressor. This is from, I think I bought it from Australia. Yeah, it was shipped from Australia. I got it on eBay. I think it's a 1/4 horsepower or 3/4 horsepower, 12 volt. It's one of the most powerful air compressors I've ever found. This thing fills the tank in just a few seconds, probably like 45 seconds. And it fills a, I think, 3.5 gallon tank. But the tank is underneath the truck where I mounted it. So I did copper lines, and I crimped all these rings on there, or washers, and it dissipates all the heat before it gets to the rubber hose that goes to the air tank underneath, so it doesn't burn up the hose, and so it condenses all the water before it gets to the tank down there. And I have a water separator down there, the way my tank doesn't fill up full of water. Custom stainless steel bracket I had made. Got all my distribution blocks in there. You can't see them because they're covered with plastic, but you got negative and you got positive. It's hard to see it. Let me get my flashlight. So yeah, I've got all the wires in there. They go into these boxes here. They're all nicely covered. Nothing can touch them. Then you got a relay switch back there for the air compressor when you turn on that rocker switch, and it has a light that turns on. We got a circuit breaker right here. It's a 70 amp, more than enough. We got a distribution fuse panel here. I always use Blue Sea products and marine grade wiring. We've got a Samlex 300 watt inverter, but I also have a 2000 watt inverter coming for when I had the camper shell. Got these little map lights that turn on. Power's off right now, but they bend wherever you want. Pretty darn nice. Unfortunately, today I have to tear all of this out. Every last bit of it, all the wiring, everything, to get it ready for the Hawk slide in, because this will be in the way and you'll never be able to access it because the slide in covers all of it. All that hard work, gone. Oh well. Nice while it lasted, but I'll re-rig the new unit. It'll be just as nice. All right, let's go to the interior. It's quite the drop. And I'm 6 foot. Oh, and I put this tailgate gasket on here. This thing keeps probably 90% of the dust out of the truck. This is where all the dust comes in, is right here. The whole inside of the truck used to be just coated with talcum powder dust when you're off-roading. Makes such a difference. Tailgate gasket. You can find it on Amazon. Super easy to install, cheap. I think it was like 60 bucks. Worth every penny. This truck was $36,000 in 1998 with the V10 engine, 3/4 ton, and 4x4. I did have the seats repaired. This is the original upholstery, but these were just ripped to shred. So I had them reupholstered with genuine leather, and I've never had any issues. Sorry, hiccups. So under the seat is a quite large audio system for all of my speakers. I've got Alpine R-type speakers in there, if you can see them. You can't see those, but it's quite powerful. Let me see if I can slide this seat forward one-handed. There we go. The Alpine R-type. This is the mono amp, the 12-inch sealed subwoofer. I didn't want that big boomy sound. I wanted something nice and tight, accurate, plenty of bass, but just not overwhelming. And underneath it is the amp for the doors and surrounds. I double stacked them with an air gap in between, and I'll show you the front. Shed some light on the subject. See, there's a decent air gap in between them, and I have a 12-volt cooling fan that blows air in between the two. Keeps them nice and cool. Never had any overheating issues. Works very well. Made a custom stainless steel bracket here that spaces them out. Works very well. Had it in there for probably, I don't know, 10, 12 years now. The top amp is a little bit newer, probably like 6 years old. That lower amp is probably 12 years. I'd have to say 12 years easily. Got the junk drawer. So I'll have a video of this very soon. I recently finished putting a new dash in this thing. I was so scared of doing that, but my other one was just crumbling to pieces, and you can see inside of the top of the dash to the air ducts and wiring in there. It was just, you could just grab it and it's like potato chips. It just crumbles in your hands. It was so disintegrating. This is brand new. I got it from LMC Truck, and it fits just as nice as OEM. That's the fit. It's amazing. I don't know how they got it to fit that well. They must have the original mold from the dealer or something like that. Maybe they sold it to them. I don't know. The fit is amazing on that thing. So the reason I was so scared of doing it is because all the videos I saw, you have to remove the entire dash and pull it forward like 3 feet. Remove the steering wheel, everything. Pull everything out forward. And it looks like it's a week-long job. It was insane. But no, super easy. But your dash has to be crumbling apart to do it. If your dash is cracking and crumbling apart, it makes life so much easier. You do not have to remove the entire dash and pull it forward. The whole dash stays right there. It's pretty awesome. So, let's go underneath a little bit. Here's our 3.5 gallon stainless steel air tank. Airline runs all the way back to the back of the cab or bed up to here. Got a regulator, pressure sensor. I did it all myself. Got the air chuck right here. You can put air in your tires right from here. Run air guns, whatever you want. One-way valve there. Stainless steel custom bracket to mount it to the bottom of the floor of the cab. Made that myself. Yes, I can weld. I work in a shop, so I have lots of stainless steel and steel I can work with. I did buy the tank, I didn't make it. I didn't want it blowing up underneath my truck. Pretty cheap. It was like 80 bucks, I think. Let's go back here a little. Everyone's like, why would you want to restore a 1998 truck? It's probably rusted to pieces. No, it's not. This is a California truck. There's not an ounce of rust on this entire truck, and I usually repaint it like every 3 or 4 years. It keeps the rust, what there is of it, which there isn't, down to almost zero. All you get is a little tiny spot rust. Zero rust. Look at that. Nothing. No rust. Not even way up in there. Zero. A zero rust truck from 1998. That's crazy. Zero rust, even inside the frame. Look at that. This thing's as solid as the day it was manufactured. So Dana 70 in the back with the Dana Power Locker and 488 gears, like I said earlier. And we have the Fox piggyback remote reservoir shocks back here, 2.5s also. We have the triple train horns here. They are insanely loud. They'll blow your eardrums out if you're too close to this truck. I figured if I have air for the ARB air lockers, might as well get some train horns. What the heck. Massive, massive drum brakes here because it's got the tow package. Yeah, they're drum brakes, but they are absolutely incredibly powerful. It's what 18-wheelers use and still use. Drum brakes are pretty damn amazing as long as you take care of them. So I did not want these expensive shocks getting cooked by my exhaust. So I wrapped them with this ceramic header wrap. I forget the name of the company. It's not, I didn't buy the cheap knockoff stuff. This is the expensive shit. I wanted it to actually do the job. And you can grab a hold of that with your hand while the truck is running, and it's just lukewarm. It's no joke, that stuff works. Hopefully the camera didn't go wonky when I spun it around like that. But yeah, this is the inside of the frame. No rust. None. That's a shame. I got to rip all that stuff out. That was a lot of work. But gonna have the Hawk slide in from 4-wheel campers in here. 2 months from now. It's on the build. I've already paid for it. The winch controls here. The Alpine system there. Install these tweeters up here myself. You can directionally move them around. They're Alpine also. Got the 12-inch wedge shaped box so that the seat still goes down even with the sub. That's a 12-inch sub. It's a dual voice coil sub, so it really gets it going. Let's go under the hood. This is a aftermarket hood with the cowl vent. It really is cowl vent. It's not fake. It's not a fake hood bulge. It really does cowl vent. And there's the holes to exit the heat, and it goes out by the firewall at the back. And there is a monstrous 8-liter V10 right there. And I can barely get up there. Let me get my little kiddie stool. Got the 335 M Sport here. Yes, it really is an M Sport, not a fakie. You can tell by the monstrous two-piece brake rotors and the giant calipers. A lot of people like to put the fake M Sport badge on the back. No, that's real. Got the stool. I'm 6 foot and this thing's still too tall. Just recently upgraded to an X2 battery here. Give you an idea of the size of this thing. It's huge. It's probably 14 inches wide. Custom stainless steel hold down bracket. Did all the wiring myself. Yeah, I know it's kind of an octopus, but I got so much shit going in this truck, it's unreal. Custom Blue Sea distribution fuse panel. Waterproof with O-ring. Got a desiccant pack in here for any moisture. This side is small amps up to 30 amps. This side you can, I believe it's 400 amps. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do each one of these is up to 100 amps. I'm doing like 60, 40. What was that one? A 70 and another 60 or something. Yeah. So that one's, I believe, air compressor, stereo. These are the cooling fans for the front. This is main power to the fuse panel itself for the vehicle. It's nice these have brass terminals and they're dual terminals. The battery's a little bit more expensive because it was a dual terminal unit. Much more handy when you're running tons of electrical. So the truck is a V10 engine, 8 liters, 488 cubic inch. Air filters in there. This is not factory. I made this aftermarket snorkel here out of silicone boost tube. And it has these clamps here with these fittings that are on the inside, the couplers. You can get different angles and cut it to length. And the inlet is right here inside the fender. Nice clean air, no water can get in there. So originally the intake, in Dodge's wisdom, took a straight dive all the way down to the frame rail down there, and that's where it was picking up its air. 2 feet down. Like, dude, I do occasional water crossings. They're not, you know, super deep, but I'd rather not inhale a bunch of water into my intake. So I raised it 2 feet all the way up here and ran it to the front right here. It's been working out pretty darn amazing. And I got rid of the mechanical fan that was here. Incredibly noisy and it robs power. So I went with I went with dual electric fans here. And no issues with cooling at all. One probably would have been fine, but I went with duals and made this custom aluminum fan shroud here with the thermostat, adjustable thermostat. You can turn it and adjust it up or down. I've got a little mark here to keep it where I like it. Let's head on over to this side. Video's getting kind of long, I know. Since I went with dual electric fans, I didn't have room over there with the snorkel. That's normally where the coolant bottle goes. No, windshield wiper fluid. Windshield wiper fluid went over there, so I moved it over to here. Now windshield wiper fluid is here. Made a custom stainless steel bracket for that. And it lives happily right here next to the coolant bottle. Good old Prestone green, 1998, no fancy colors here. Raised up my axle vent as high as it'll possibly go. It goes all the way up here down to the axle. No water getting in there. And there's a vent cap here on the front, or on the top, front. Recently did a tune-up on it, changed the coil packs, put all new wires, new plugs. Of course, I did that when I rebuilt the engine. Had that slight rod knock when I did take it apart, which was incredibly easy. It's just a freaking... The only reason it has a computer at all right there is just to run the fuel injection. This thing does not have much technology in it from 1998. So it's incredibly easy to work on. Super simple. I couldn't believe how easy it was. Rebuilt it in one day. Had all the parts in advance, of course. Yep, the rods were, the rod bearings were starting to wear out. They weren't too bad, but just at high RPM you could hear the rod knock, and I figured it was time. The inside of the cylinders still had the original factory cross hatch. They weren't smooth, they weren't glazed, they weren't scored, no scratches, nothing. It still had great compression when we took it apart. Me and my buddy, he's got the cherry picker, so he gave me a hand. Yeah, super simple. Didn't have to hone it, just knew exactly the same rings that it came with. Went to Dodge for some more rings. Did not hone the engine at all, the cylinders. Still had the original factory crosshatch pattern in them. Not kidding, not even a little bit, after almost 300,000 miles. And this thing tows a 23-foot sport fishing boat. Don't have it anymore, but I towed it for probably 8 or 10 years. There's the second cooling fan, electrics. Made that aluminum fan shroud for it. The only thing that's gone bad on this engine, the air conditioner I had to replace, water pump, and catalytic converter. Those are the 3 major things that have gone bad on this vehicle. But hey, after 300K, that's nothing. Changed out as many hoses as I could with blue silicone to kind of make it nice. All I use is Mobil 1, full synthetic, oil and filters. Rewired the whole engine compartment as much as I could. Replaced all the wiring. A lot of it was old and cracking from heat. Upgraded the steering box to a Redhead steering box. Much higher gear ratio, or lower gear ratio, to help with those 37s. And got their super pump to go with it. Really helps out. Put in a new radiator. There's the Redhead steering box. If you got big tires, these things are really nice. Zero rust. Of course, I do paint it every couple years, but hey, California truck. This is not a pavement princess. I actually off-road with this truck. These are so nice. These are marine swivel lights, LED. They really help put a light on whatever you need in the middle of the evening. Turn that baby on, see what you're doing in here. You can check your fluids, whatnot. Let's start it up. I made a video before, but didn't have these upgrades yet. It was still quite a bit stock. And people were complaining, hey man, you need to start that thing up. Let's hear what it sounds like. Well, here we go.